We are starting with chapter 9 over here, that is on deep generative models, and these are the topics we are going to cover in this chapter. So let us quickly start. What is basically a generative model? A generative model will include distribution of the data itself, and it will tell us how likely given examples are. So basically you want to predict the next word in the sequence, or you want to generate an output that is quite similar to your input. So in short, you are learning from input and you are trying to generate something that is similar to it. Okay, so the idea is like this. So what are the different examples where where generative model techniques are used? So you can see all those examples, whether it is generating realistic photographs or image to image translation, or converting photos to emojis, face aging, photo blending, etc. So again, some more examples: text to image translation, semantic image to photo translation, clothing translation, video prediction, super resolution. Super resolution is nothing but where you are just increasing the resolution of your image. So if you have an image in a lower resolution, you can get an image in a higher resolution. So these are the basic examples where generative models are used. Now we slowly go on to the models themselves. So the first section is on deep generative models. So deep generative models, they are nothing but they are neural networks which have many hidden layers. We all know why hidden layers are important. जितने ज़्यादा hidden layers होते हैं उतना हम लोग high dimensionality या complicated problem आसानी से tackle कर सकते. So once we have trained these deep generative models, they can allow us or they can help us to estimate the likelihood of each observation, and they can generate new samples from the underlying distribution. So underlying distribution is nothing but the distribution of your input data. Okay, so applications of deep generative models such as fake portrait from celebrity images, etc. are quite popular. Nowadays you can see a lot of applications where such things are happening. So right now we have an application where we are cartoonizing the photographs, or many times XYZ is the background in the real photo, we change it to ABC in the edited photo. So such kind of things can also be done in deep generative using deep generative models. Okay, so basically the goal that we have in while training these models is to learn unknown or intractable probability distribution from small number of independent and identically distributed samples. So whatever is your input data, you try to analyze that input data, and we try to understand the distribution that is present in the input data. So in short, we are trying to learn the characteristics of the input data. And once we have trained these models properly, DGMs can be used to estimate the likelihood of the given sample and create new samples which are very similar to the samples from the unknown distribution. So which unknown distribution we are talking about? We are talking about the distribution of our input data. Okay. Now these problems have been core of probability and statistics for decades, but they remained computationally challenging to solve, particularly when the dimensionality is high. Now when we talk about DGM, we have certain challenges that we are facing. So what are those challenges and what are the things we have to tackle before we go ahead? So DGM training is an ill-posed problem, since uniquely defining a probability distribution from finite number of samples is impossible. So many a times we face problems in defining the distribution of our input data itself. How our DGM will perform, it depends upon something which we call as hyperparameters. So what are these hyperparameters that I'll tell you in a minute, but what are the examples of hyperparameters? So maybe design of your network, the training objective that you're choosing, what regularization strategy are you using, and what training algorithms you are using. So what is hyperparameter and parameter? Parameters, something like weight or bias, whose values are continuously going to be updated when your model is being trained, they are parameters. बट ऐसे वेरिएबल्स या ऐसी चीज़ें जो हम लोग को सेट करनी है, सो डिज़ाइन ऑफ द नेटवर्क वी आर गोइंग टू डिसाइड. मॉडल इज नॉट गोइंग टू चेंज द वैल्यू व्हेन इट इज बीइंग ट्रेन्ड. जैसे वेट्स का वैल्यू अपडेट होते रहता है ताकि लॉस फंक्शन मिनिमाइज होते जाए, वैसे हाइपर पैरामीटर्स का वैल्यू हमारे ऊपर डिपेंडेंट है, हम लोग डिसाइड करने वाले. सो दैट इज अ बेसिक डिफरेंस बिटवीन पैरामीटर्स एंड हाइपर पैरामीटर्स. नाउ लेट अस गो टू द सेकेंड पॉइंट. So now the second problem will talk about how do we train the generators. So basically before I explain you this, let me explain you कि deep generative models में usually दो sections होते हैं. एक होता है generator, दूसरा होता है discriminator. So this generator word comes from that कि मेरा input data का जो distribution है, I'll understand that and I will generate the samples which are matching the input data's distribution. Okay, and now the aim of the generator is that जो generated samples है that should match your input data. Okay, जिससे बहुत बार हम लोग real samples भी कहते हैं या real data भी कहते हैं. Now the thing that we wish to do over here is, एक तो हमारे पास जो डिस्ट्रीब्यूशन है वो एक कॉम्प्लिकेटेड या इंट्रैक्टेबल डिस्ट्रीब्यूशन भी हो सकता है. सो यहाँ पर जनरेटर को ट्रेन कैसे करें? सो वन वे इज दैट वी इन्वर्स द जनरेटर. सो देयर इज अ टेक्निक विच इज कॉल्ड एज इन्वर्जन ऑफ द जनरेटर. अभी इन्वर्जन ऑफ द जनरेटर इज मेनी टाइम्स ट्रिकी because what you are trying to do is you are saying that the generator will get your generated samples as the input, and from it has to generate something which is like your real images. So that is a simplest way कि inversion of generator मतलब क्या. अभी from A to B if I am going, if my neural network is taking me from A to B, then I have to design a neural network that will take me from B to A. उसका reverse procedure मुझे करना है. बहुत बार न्यूरल नेटवर्क का जो डिजाइन होता है वो नॉन लीनियर होता है. उस केस में इन्वर्जन बिकम्स पर्टिकुलरली कॉम्प्लिकेटेड. अभी सेकंड ऑप्शन क्या है मेरे पास? सेकंड ऑप्शन ये है कंपेयरिंग द डिस्ट्रीब्यूशन ऑफ द जनरेटेड सैंपल्स टू द गिवन डेटा सेट. सो आपका जो इनपुट डेटा सेट है उसका डिस्ट्रीब्यूशन ले लो, आपके जो जनरेटेड सैंपल्स है उसका डिस्ट्रीब्यूशन ले लो, एंड अभी इन दोनों डिस्ट्रीब्यूशंस को कंपेयर करो. So what I wish to do is I wish to quantify the similarity of two probability distributions from the samples, my input sample and my output sample. So this particularly is going to lead to a two sample test problem. Now this problem becomes difficult if I don't have any prior assumptions about the distribution. So this is a second set of challenges that I face. Now coming to the third set of challenges that we will face. Now the third problem that we face when we are training DGMs, that is deep generative models, is that many times the distribution that we are working with, the input distribution, the distribution of the input data that we are working with, many times it is intractable. So how do you deal with it? आपको ट्रेन तो करना है मॉडल को, आपके पास जो डिस्ट्रीब्यूशन है वो बहुत बार कॉम्प्लिकेटेड है, तो फिर क्या करोगे? Many a times what we do is we transform a known and a much simpler probability distribution. Let's say for example Gaussian distribution. Gaussian distribution एक well known distribution है. And now what we do is we are transforming this Gaussian distribution in a latent space of a known distribution. So for example, आप एक नोन डिस्ट्रीब्यूशन ले लेते हो, जैसे इस केस में मैं गॉसियन डिस्ट्रीब्यूशन की बात कर रही हूँ, एंड फिर उसको ट्रेन करते करते थोड़ा थोड़ा और उसको कॉम्प्लिकेटेड की तरफ लेकर आते हो, सो दैट इट कैन मिमिक योर इनपुट डेटा. In most practical cases, determining the latent space dimension is impossible and it is left as a hyperparameter. So we have already seen hyperparameter is a parameter that we have to choose. So user is going to choose it कि latent space का dimension क्या होना चाहिए. Now this choice is both difficult and important. अगर हम लोग ने बहुत छोटा एस्टिमेट कर लिया, we are very conservative in estimating it, the generator will not be able to approximate the data nicely. सारी की सारी जो चीज़ें हैं या जो प्रॉपर्टीज़ है डेटा में वो जनरेटर कैप्चर नहीं कर पाएगा, बिकॉज आवर एस्टिमेट वाज ओवरली कॉन्जर्वेटिव. ओवरली कॉन्जर्वेटिव मीन्स हम लोग ने एक बहुत छोटा नंबर चूज कर लिया एज अ लेटेंट स्पेस डायमेंशन. बट अगर हम लोग ने ओवर एस्टिमेट कर लिया, सो वी चूज अ वेरी हाई नंबर फॉर एग्जाम्पल, देन इट विल रेंडर द जनरेटर नॉन इंजक्टिव, which will complicate the training. Now what is the meaning of non-injective? Non-injective means that two inputs may point to the same output. So for example, we have a function f of x is equal to x square. So if the value of x is plus 2 or the value of x is minus 2, my answer of f of x is going to be same, that is 4. So 2 का स्क्वायर भी 4 है, माइनस 2 का स्क्वायर भी 4 है. दैट इज द मीनिंग ऑफ नॉन इंजक्टिव कि two inputs or 2 points in one domain are pointing towards one single point in another domain. So these were the 3 problems that we generally face. Now going ahead with supervised and unsupervised learning. Now the concept of supervised and unsupervised learning is quite simple. So let us brush up through this very quickly. So when I typically talk of supervised learning, I generally have class labels. So I have X as well as I have Y. And I want to train a model in such a way that it can predict the output. And because I have labeled data, I can also correct the model to make the outputs more like the expected output. So let us quickly see the diagram to understand this. So my input data is going to the model. The model is being trained primarily. Then it will do predictions. So those predictions we call it as y hat or y cap. Okay, so there is a cap on top of y. Now what I do, I compare these predictions with my output data. Because it is a supervised learning, I have labeled data. So I already know कि इस input के लिए output क्या होना चाहिए. So I compare that output with the predictions the model has made for me. If the predictions and the output data match, means my model is working nicely, no issues. But if there is an error, the predictions and the output data do not match, so there is an error. What I am supposed to do is I am supposed to go and update my model. And this process will continue till a point you don't receive a particular level of accuracy. Whatever is your threshold, you need to achieve that particular threshold. Now, when I talk of supervised learning, what are the examples? Classification, regression, maybe logistic regression or random forest. So these are the examples of supervised learning. Now जैसे supervised learning है, वैसे opposite of it similar हम लोग कह सकते हैं is unsupervised learning. Unsupervised learning में क्या होता है, हमारे पास input तो होता है but we do not have output variables. So हमारे पास y नहीं होता है. तो मॉडल कैसे बनेगा? द मॉडल इज कंस्ट्रक्टेड बाय एक्सट्रैक्टिंग और समराइजिंग द पैटर्न्स इन द इनपुट डेटा. एंड ऑब्वियसली हमारे पास y नहीं है कि ये प्रेडिक्टेड वैल्यू एंड एक्चुअल वैल्यू मैच हो रहा है या देख लो, ऐसा कोई चीज नहीं है. सो देयर इज नो करेक्शन ऑफ द मॉडल एज द मॉडल इज नॉट प्रेडिक्टिंग एनीथिंग. So this second type of approach is what we call as descriptive or unsupervised learning. So जहाँ पे हमारे पास सिर्फ इनपुट्स होता है, ओके, मॉडल अगर कुछ प्रेडिक्ट नहीं कर रहा है तो फिर मॉडल क्या कर रहा है, मॉडल पैटर्न्स ढूंढ रहा है, ओके। एरर मैट्रिक नहीं होता है जैसे सुपरवाइज लर्निंग में होता है कि वी चेक प्रेडिक्टेड वैल्यू with the observed value, okay. So lack of correction is generally referred to as an unsupervised form of learning or unsupervised learning. So unsupervised learning में आपके पास input data होता है based on which you train the model. Examples क्या है, clustering है, generative modeling है, k-means और generative adversarial networks. Going ahead, let us understand some difference between discriminative and generative modeling. So supervised learning में क्या होता है ना, we are interested in developing a model to predict a class given some examples of input variables. So this predictive modeling task is something that we call as classification. Classification को हम लोग generally refer करते आ रहे हैं as discriminative modeling. So we use training data to find a discriminant function f of x which will map each x directly to a class label. Okay, so combining the inference and decision stages into a single learning problem. Okay, because इसको discriminative क्यों कहा जाता है? Because model is supposed to discriminate examples of input variables across classes and it must choose or it must make some decision as to in which class a particular example belongs to. So input data है model and वो predicted classification वो predict कर रहा है कि ये कौन से class में जाएगा. So suppose I give it eagle. So eagle, is it going to put it in animals or it is going to put it in birds? It has to decide. I give it tiger. So tiger, it is going to put it in animals or it is going to put it in birds. It has to decide. Okay. Unsupervised में क्या होता है? It summarizes the distribution of input variables so as to create or generate new examples in the input distribution. So ऐसे models को हम लोग क्या कहते हैं? Generative models कहते हैं कि model है and वो example generate कर रहा है. Okay. A single variable may have a known distribution such as a Gaussian distribution or a bell-shaped distribution. A generative model will be able to sufficiently summarize this data distribution and then it can be used to generate new variables that will fit or that will generally fit into the distribution of the input variable. तो in simple words, आप उस input data को समझ लो, okay? उस डेटा के डिस्ट्रीब्यूशन को समझ लो, उसको अच्छे से समराइज करो एंड फिर वो डिस्ट्रीब्यूशन यूज करके आप इनपुट जैसे एग्जाम्पल्स जनरेट करने की कोशिश करो. ओके, नाउ अप्रोचेस दैट विल एक्सप्लिसिटली और इम्प्लिसिटली मॉडल द डिस्ट्रीब्यूशन ऑफ योर इनपुट्स as well as outputs are known as generative models because by sampling from them it is possible to generate synthetic data points in the input space. So मेरे input space में अगर मुझे additional data चाहिए, see it is not, is it your real data? No, it is a synthetic data. It is a model generated data, इसीलिए उसको synthetic कहा गया है और कुछ नहीं. A really good generative model may be able to generate new examples that are not just plausible but also indistinguishable from the real examples from the problem domain. बहुत बार आप बता नहीं पाओगे कि ये रियल एग्जाम्पल है या ये रियल डेटा है या ये आपका जनरेटेड डेटा है. अगर वो जनरेटिव मॉडल आपके इनपुट डोमेन को अच्छा खासा समझ में आ जाता है, सो it will not be possible for you to distinguish between the real and the generated examples. So example क्या है? Naive Bayes is an example of a generative model that is more often used as a discriminative model. So naive Bayes कैसे work करता है? It typically works by summarizing the probabilities of distribution of your each input variable and output class. जब प्रेडिक्शन किया जाता है, the probability of each possible outcome is calculated for each variable the independent probabilities are combined and most likely outcome is predicted कि हर एक क्लास का इतना इतना प्रोबेबिलिटी है, तो कौन से क्लास का सबसे ज़्यादा प्रोबेबिलिटी है तो वो क्लास सिलेक्ट हो जाएगा. Used in reverse, the probability distribution for each variable can be sampled to generate newly possible or independent feature values. Another examples include LDA, Gaussian mixture model, deep machine learning methods that are used as generative models are restricted Boltzmann machine and deep belief networks. We are going to study both of these in the chapter, in this chapter itself rather. Another thing is, two modern examples of deep generative modeling algorithms are variational autoencoder. So we have seen what is the concept of autoencoder, and generative adversarial network or GAN, which is our next topic. But that's it for this video. Thank you.